Thank you very much indeed. So we've had Raikkonen defending against Verstappen, and now we have Verstappen who's going to have to defend against Raikkonen, because as you can see, the Finn has very much caught up with the young Dutchman here, and this is the battle for 5th place. And after the role reversal from Spain, we're back to how it was in Spain. And on that day, Martin, Verstappen was absolutely superb in where he positioned his car and how he kept Kimi at bay. What could he do this afternoon?
It is really, isn't it? It's turned around sweetly, and where has he got the extra speed? Remember what Max said back in Barcelona? Yeah, well, I've driven pretty much their engine system at Ferrari, at Toro Rosso. I know where he would be deploying his battery and where he wouldn't, so I just did the same.
The one thing that is different this time around is that Kimi Raikkonen's tyres have a lot more grip in them.
So did Max's, didn't it? A little bit earlier on in the race, and he couldn't get through.
Exactly. So this is, from a team perspective, vital for Ferrari. From Kimi Raikkonen's perspective, I think deeply personal, and would be deeply satisfying if he could get his own back and prove exactly why Ferrari have kept him on for another year, exactly why he can still turn it on and be one of the best when the opportunity arises. A little bit too far away on that occasion to get into turn 1. Great exit from Raikkonen, and then just lost a little bit further down the road, but still might have a go into turn 2 here. He's going to have to go all the way around the outside. And Verstappen doing what Raikkonen did, positioning the Red Bull very nicely indeed. Just wonder, had he not, Martin, he went through the gears and got on the power, just slightly had to catch the back end, would Raikkonen have had a bit more of a chance going into turn 2?
He's very calm with it though, doesn't he? We know Max can keep his head in these situations, but the Ferrari does look an awful lot faster everywhere. The braking, turn in, traction's better, there's fresh tyres working a treat. But as we also know from Verstappen last time around, earlier in the race, you've got to get it done early, otherwise you just settle in.
Absolutely. Talking of which, Rosberg's now 2.6 seconds behind his teammate. Hamilton's continuing to extend that advantage, now 2.9 seconds. And Esteban Gutierrez has a 5-second time penalty to add to his pain. Means that as it stands at the moment, Jolyon Palmer won't quite go ahead of him, but Sergio Perez will. Right, DRS now for Kimi Raikkonen. Seems a bit closer as they make the run down towards turn 1 to Verstappen. Under braking, can he have a go down the inside? No, a little bit too far behind. Now could come his best chance.
Max leaving the door open there a bit.
So which way is the door going to swing? Raikkonen tries, oh, he's hit him! Kimi Raikkonen, switching from left to right and left again, has taken out a bit of his front wing.
I wonder if that's punctured Verstappen's rear tyre.
If it hasn't, he's got away with it. It's caused a fair bit of damage, as you can see, to Raikkonen's front wing. Verstappen doesn't look like it's a puncture.
No, I think if they're going to puncture, they puncture straight away.
Yeah.
No.
I just wonder, Martin, we'll look at that again.
It might have been the rear crash structure on the back of the Red Bull rather than the tyre.
Did he go one change of direction too much, Verstappen there?
I didn't see it again. I was watching Raikkonen actually. Sorry, mate. There we go, and we'll find out. So
goes there, and then goes there.
No.
He moved right and then back to left when I was going there. And took my front wing out.
Okay, copy, keep pushing on the way in.
Difficult, the relative movement there, because Kimi was moving as well. Let's see that again. He didn't slam across the road, but his car moved twice.
Yeah, it's a subtle second move, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised to hear Raikkonen pinpoint that as the reason why.
No.
You're only allowed the one change of direction, as it were.
Yeah.
To stop things like that happening.
Kimi moves so quickly, it's really difficult to judge that one across the road.
Remember back to Silverstone, Nico Rosberg was complaining of the same thing as well about Max Verstappen, wasn't he, into Stowe, that there were different changes of direction. Either way, Kimi Raikkonen's come back for a bit more. He might not have much of his front wing on the left-hand side left in terms of end plates, but he's come back for a bit more here.
I'd heard him more on when there were long corners like Silverstone or more high-speed stuff. He He might get away with it around here. Certainly looks that way, doesn't it?
Certainly does. Lap 58 completed for the race leader. It's 2.3 seconds. The gap now between Hamilton and Rosberg. Ricciardo on for another podium here at the Hungaro Ring. Track he likes very much. It would be a third podium in succession for him. He's third. Sebastian Vettel currently running in fourth place, 2.5 seconds further back. And then comes Verstappen, 11 seconds down the road, and Kimi Raikkonen within DRS range once again. And he's coming back and hunting back towards the Dutchman for a bit more action. And he goes wide there, Verstappen. He's left the door open once again as he's struggling for grip on his tyres. Now down into turn 2, where Raikkonen lost that left-hand side, the end plate of his front wing, and he might be struggling a bit under braking as well.
Raikkonen's tyres 12 laps younger. His rival somewhat more years younger.
Through turn 4 and into 5 once again. Under braking, Raikkonen gets close. It's very, very tricky to get past anybody on this section of track. It's not totally impossible to catch somebody by surprise.
He's got all the grip of the super softs as well, for good measure, hasn't he? Which is helping overcome a bit of front downforce that'll go missing. It'll also, the turbulent air down the side of the car, those front wing end fences very much start the process of how the air passes down and through the car. As I say, on a slow circuit like this, it's less painful.
So, Raikkonen, the highest non-Mercedes driver in the championship, started this race 8 points ahead of his teammates. He's closer on this particular lap, looks down at his steering wheel, looks ahead now to see him gaining, not quite gaining enough, and then following pretty much the same line before Verstappen runs a little bit wider. Now is there a chance into turn 2 once again? Is Raikkonen going to have a go? Braking a little bit later, not quite. And as he can't get past into really the two recognised overtaking spots here, what could help him a little bit more is that lot of traffic just ahead of them. Rio Haryanto and Danny Kvyat down there as well. Haryanto gets out of the way, well done.
Well, both Ferraris are catching both Red Bulls.
0.6 of a second, Vettel on Ricciardo on the previous lap. And out in front, once again, Nico Rosberg has been catching Lewis Hamilton on this lap as well. It's like cat and mouse, and the cat's just kind of toying with the mice at the moment, but will mouse power win out?
They have finally dropped the Red Bull, Ricciardo, by 13 seconds, 15 in total for Lewis.
1.9 seconds the gap. The two Mercedes, the only cars lapping are the 123s. Maurizio Arriva-Bene, I'm under so much pressure at the moment, he acknowledges that. And I don't think he liked what he just saw. After re-signing Kimi Raikkonen for another season, it would have been proof when he made the right decision if Kimi was still pulling off great moves, some would say. So now down with the blue flags flashing. Raikkonen onto Verstappen once again, can't quite get past him.
Kimi is going out of the track limits.
But not at turn 4 or turn 11, otherwise the sensors would have picked it up. Paul di Resta at Sky Race Control, you've had another little look, Paul, at that move that Raikkonen tried to play on Verstappen. How did you see it?
Yeah, like you said, Kimi definitely committed to the right-hand side first. Max moved over there, and then when he dummied him the other way, Max just covering it. There was no way Kimi could get out of it. You know, he was absolutely committed to the inside at that point, and that's where he's lost the front wing. So it's going to be difficult for him to overtake him now with that loss of downforce, but I think a little bit a step too far on Verstappen's front there.
So Paul, if you were Kimi Raikkonen and you were in this race, you'd have relayed the same message yourself?
Yeah, I think I would have. It's very marginal, but I think just on that sense, you know, definitely trying to you know, just block it just a bit too far.
Cheers, Paul. Thanks ever so much. More from Paul at the Skypad after this race, as we'll analyse in greater detail some of the key moments. But on lap 62, This battle is still carrying on. Out in front, it's a second and a half. Hamilton and Rosberg, third and fourth, separated by 2.1 seconds. Here comes Kimi Räikkönen down the inside, though, can't quite do it. Verstappen's covered him off. Räikkönen was a bit too far away. Onwards now, downward braking zone, downhill braking zone into turn 2. Räikkönen goes down the inside, and Verstappen locks up. So he was forcing the Red Bull. It was Räikkönen just to break that little bit later, and Verstappen had to lock up. This is a super scrap.
Verstappen doesn't have the pace, but he does have track position. He can make that Red Bull as wide as he needs to. But you can't help but think if Räikkönen gets half a chance. I think that the chance was possibly offered to him down into turn 1 a few laps ago, but he didn't realise it was coming.
Box is left. And gents are back off. We're going to retire the car.
We saw a puff of smoke, didn't we, on that replay from Button. Sadly, for Jenson Button, he is going to become the first car to retire from this race after looking, after the first couple of corners, like he was always going to be the first car, sadly, to retire from this race. It has not been a pleasant afternoon at the Hungaroring at all. Into turn 12. Räikkönen much later on the brakes than Verstappen. And you wonder if is that like a little ploy from Verstappen there, just to brake maybe a bit earlier and then force Räikkönen into an error to then protect him a little bit when we get to the DRS zone.
Yeah, he needs to be ahead as he goes into and through the last corner, and that's worked out a treat for him. Ferrari fans, the Finnish fans, know what they want to see, but once again, I think he quite likes that wide outside. This is closer than ever, isn't it, in the traffic?
Always having a little look down the inside again. Verstappen covers him legitimately on that side. Kevin Magnussen keeping one out of the way. I can tell you out in front, the traffic has worked a treat for Nico Rosberg again. He's now only 0.6 of a second behind Lewis Hamilton. So that scrap for the lead is going to get quite interesting, as much as this scrap for 5th and 6th. And Vettel is continuing to gain on Daniel Ricciardo as well, because that's down to 1.2 seconds at the gap there. Hamilton gets past Bottas and Wehrlein, as now does Nico Rosberg as well, and down the main straight the two Mercedes are running one behind the other, and that's why as well Lewis Hamilton's having problems locking up going into turn 12 at the bottom of the hill.
It's not one of those where they're getting measured and penalised, but how close do you need it at the end of the race? And Hamilton under pressure then. So he must have had it showing 1.1 by the time they got to the pit straight, isn't it?
I don't think that was the last lap, that was the previous lap.
Must have been when the gap suddenly shrunk down.
And once again though, Martin, Hamilton, when he needs to, has found that pace. And at every single moment he's had to find half a second, 0.8 of a second on a lap from his teammate. He's done it.
Max is certainly, when he goes to defend, it's aggressive and it's bordering on being too late.
Here comes Räikkönen once again into turn 2. He's looking all the way on the left-hand side for where Kimi Räikkönen is there. Max Verstappen. I think Räikkönen was looking to try and outfox him a bit. You used to be able, once upon a time, to make a move into turn 4, but he's not quite close enough, and you don't want to go all 4 wheels off the track because you're not going to get that place, and you're only going to get a bit of a warning from the FIA for doing it.
Another place used to be off 5 here and into turn 6, but the braking distances are so short now, it's not possible to do it, especially if you had to have a manual get shift in between the 2 corners and 2-3 more manual shifts down, but those days are long gone. But there still has been overtaking there, but the cars are just too good now.
1.3 seconds, the gap between 1st and 2nd, and also 3rd and 4th as well. Keeping out of the way, Romain Grosjean, who's currently running down in 14th place and has been lapped. Everyone in the top 8 on the lead lap at the moment. The rest have all seen the blue flags. Ted, down to you.
So it's cracking racing, isn't it? But a cracking race also from Fernando Alonso, we should say, in 7th place. And he's actually gaining. He's dropping Carlos Sainz behind him by some margin, little margin, every lap. So good effort from the only 2-time world champion Fernando Alonso. I'll go to Mercedes and see if Lewis has got any sort of recurring brake issues.
Well, he's locked up going into turn 12. That's very true. Verstappen locked up going into turn 2 on the previous lap. Still ahead of Räikkönen. Sebastian Vettel is now a second behind Daniel Ricciardo. That is very much swinging Vettel's way, but he's got to do what Kimi's got to do, and they've got to try and make a move. And making a move here, Martin, it's like a teenage disco. You know, you're not quite sure how to make the move, and you're probably going to get rejected if you do.
Three great fights going on out there, and they're for the top 6 places.
Who's your driver of the day?
A touch wide in 11 from Raikkonen. I don't think he'll get away with that one. You're allowed to go 20 centimetres outside, very close to the limit.
And there are the 2 leaders, the 2 cars out in front. Mercedes looking for their first win at the Hungaroring since 2013. It'll also be the first time since that year that anyone who started on the front row is going to finish on the podium as well.
Not there yet, are they?
No, they're getting a checkered flag, getting ever closer. And with it, Martin, as it stands at the moment, that swing in the championship lead that you kind of felt has been coming for some time. But going into this race, 1 point behind his teammate Lewis Hamilton, will emerge going into the German Grand Prix as it stands at the moment with a 6-point advantage. And then how does Rosberg respond?
He's responded well today. I mean, he's driven beautifully today, hasn't he? But somehow Lewis has kept it all together out front and paced himself. Was backing his teammate into Red Bull, but Red Bull have fallen away quite badly in the second half of the race.
It's the start that's cost Rosberg, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just the positioning of the car, or the fact that his teammate got away a bit quicker.
Yeah, and the fact he had to defend against Ricciardo going around the outside.
Yeah, the pesky Red Bull rather got in the way as Kimi Raikkonen goes wide again, but you could argue that that wasn't 20 centimetres outside the track limits, which is the tolerance level that the FIA are applying here. Ted, down to you. Be prepared to be interrupted just in case Raikkonen makes a move.
I'll make it quick. I've just checked with Mercedes. They say Lewis's brakes are fine.
Thank you very much indeed. Whose brakes are better here, the Red Bulls or the Ferraris? A little bit later on the brakes once again. Kimi Raikkonen. Of course, as you rightly said, Martin, you want to get the overtake done early when you've got all the grip. Otherwise, you're kind of set and you're a bit stuck, and it might be looking that way a touch.
You tend to pick up understeer as well when you're following another car this closely, so broken front wing like that just compounds the problem. You can see Raikkonen has so much more grip and pace. Nowhere to take it.
You're almost willing for the man in front to make a little mistake as well. You know, go on, miss an apex, do it. Rosberg, by the way, within DRS range now of Lewis Hamilton. I'm just looking at the next driver to be lapped, Fernando Alonso. The race leader is coming up against his old teammate.
But crucially then, once they get past Alonso, they'll get to the end of the race without any more traffic. Ted's got more news.
Watch out for a Felipe Massa fastest lap of the race attempt. He's just pitted and gone onto the super soft tyres for the last, 3 laps?
Yeah. That's why you don't give points for a fastest lap of the race.
Yeah.
Because they'd be all at it.
You can do that as long as you, like they do in some championships, as long as you're in the top 10, you can score that point.
Oh, Kimi Raikkonen goes round the outside, and he's going to have to go way wide because he locked up as well. He was just looking at the improbable, trying the impossible with Max Verstappen.
Verstappen parks in the middle and then makes a very late decision on which way he's going to go. That'll be infuriating Raikkonen.
Let's have a little look at it again. As Grosjean, by the way, gets a black and white flag for track limits.
I thought you were going to lose the other side of his front wing and fence there.
Just to balance it up a bit.
I don't think Max did anything wrong there.
He hadn't really made more than one change of direction. He just kind of went right a bit later.
The corner, didn't he?
Absolutely. If he can't get past Max Verstappen, not only does it infuriate Kimi Raikkonen, but it's going to cost him third in the championship as well. At the moment, Daniel Ricciardo, who is third, will overtake him. But Sebastian Vettel is now only 0.6 of a second behind Ricciardo. Rosberg, who's got within DRS range of Lewis Hamilton, maybe through the traffic, has lost a little bit of time. Now 1.2 seconds out in front. We're seeing this battle. Sebastian Vettel closing up on Daniel Ricciardo. He's pursuing him. You can see it now going into turn 4. Vettel in 4th place. Well, he gets 4th. Means he's only scored 14 points in the last 3 races, but at last he'll finally pass 2,000 career points today. Something that Lewis Hamilton did a couple of races ago. Now they were neck and neck for a while. On board with Kimi Raikkonen.
He's not stopping moving, then we will hit it.
Understood.
Because I move first, so don't move after that. I have nothing that I could do once I have decided to go inside, and he turns after that in front of me.
That's what we were talking about. Max waits for Kimi to make his decision and then reacts to that decision. Kept track position. Kimi's like, okay, I'm going to have to run into him then if he keeps doing that.
Well,
not long left now.
We're on the last lap for our race leaders and for our 3rd and 4th. And has Ricciardo just repelled the threats of his former teammate and kept hold of his podium. Little lock up just ahead from one of the back markers. Out in front, Lewis Hamilton is on his way to another victory. It will be his 48th in Formula 1. It will mean he'll set the record for the most amount of wins at the Hungaroring as well, of course. Currently holds it joint with Michael Schumacher. And well, he started second this afternoon. He survived an attack from Ricciardo at the first corner. He rounds the final corner now. Lewis Hamilton sees the checkered flag and for the 5th time takes the win at the Hungarian Grand Prix, and for the first time in 2016 takes the championship lead as well. Nico Rosberg, his teammate, picks up his first podium at the Hungaroring, but has to concede that lead that he's held since the opening race of the season, and that at one stage was 43 points. And for the 3rd year in a row, Daniel Ricciardo for Red Bull comes home to finish on the podium, taking the final podium spot ahead of the former Red Bull driver Sebastian Vettel. And it's Red Bull against Ferrari for 5th and for 6th as well. And as it is for the final podium spots, it's going to be Red Bull holding on, hanging on, and eventually winning out as Max Verstappen crosses the line ahead of Kimi Raikkonen to once again frustrate the Finn. And just to prove how much frustration Kimi Raikkonen has, the minute they cross the line, he blasts past him and gets out of his way.
I was half expecting there Raikkonen to pull up alongside and give him a little bit of a tap, actually, because he's clearly frustrated. But that's an important result for Ricciardo as well. He stopped the march of his young teammate Verstappen. He's up on the podium. He beats his former Red Bull teammate and rival Seb Vettel. That's a very good result for Daniel Ricciardo. So
Awesome race, Lewis. Mega result. Well done, mate. Great stuff.